Christine Pitawanich with your weekly recap, where we'll be catching you up on some of the biggest stories of the week. We begin with our top story this week. The Longview superintendent was arrested in connection with a sexual assault investigation involving students. She made her first court appearance on Friday. Karen Cloninger is charged with obstructing police, failing to report as a mandatory reporter, and tampering with a witness, which is a felony. The executive director of student services for Longview is also facing charges. In February, authorities arrested and charged 2 high school basketball players at Mark Morris High School for allegedly sexually assaulting their younger teammates. Police say the school and district knew about it, but didn't take action. Parents want the board to fire any staff member who failed to report what they knew.
So the fact that they were unwilling to pull anybody while this was being investigated to make sure that we feel comfortable with our kids being in the schools, they just allow these people to continue working. It's really upsetting.
In a statement, interim superintendent Patty Bowen said, quote, "Our district remains committed to understanding the facts surrounding the alleged student and staff misconduct, cooperating with the ongoing investigation, following the law, and ultimately taking appropriate accountability action." And on Friday, we learned more about the Wasco County Commissioner running for re-election who died on Election Day. Phil Brady was a lifelong Oregonian who grew up in the Dalles. According to Oregon Public Broadcasting, Brady went out for a bike ride on Election Day, started having chest pains, and later died at the hospital. The news came as a shock to his fellow commissioners.
I think we're all still in shock, trying to figure out kind of what to do. How to move on, and it's a hard thing for us. He's part of our family here.
Under Oregon election law, since Brady's election was heading to a runoff with candidate Mike Ernest, Ernest will now be the only named candidate on the November ballot. The Wasco County Commission will select someone to serve out Brady's term. He was 70 years old and leaves behind a wife and 2 daughters. To Salem now, where authorities this week searched for the person behind a shooting that sent a 17-year-old to the hospital. Thursday evening, we learned that teen is expected to survive. Celine Stevens has the story.
A 17-year-old boy was found shot here along High Street on Wednesday evening. Now, Salem police say the shooting happened right outside this courthouse square building, with one witness telling me he saw a group of people taking off in this direction and then heard a bang.
All I know is it went from 0 to 10 real fast.
Roger Bradford was near closing time Wednesday around 6:30 p.m. when he saw what he describes as a mob of people running in the direction of Courthouse Square.
And I heard a little bit of noise, saw a crowd of people running towards the courthouse, and then I heard a loud noise, and the crowd started running the other way. Next thing I know, cops were just swarming the block.
Bradford saying he thought the loud noise was a firecracker. Turns out it wasn't. Soon after, a search began for the suspect who shot a 17-year-old boy, according to Salem police.
I've been here almost 3 years, and that's the craziest thing I've seen down here. There were so many cops and so many people here, it was hard to see what was going on.
Salem police, along with Oregon State Police and the Marion County Sheriff's Office, searched for that suspect who ran away before they arrived, using drones and canines. That 17-year-old was taken to Salem Hospital with gunshot wounds.
It breaks my heart. Yeah, I don't want to see any of these young people get hurt down here at all.
That police activity spreading blocks.
I was leaving Bush Park from the entrance by the hospital. There were like 2 cop cars. One of them was holding a rifle, and then there were like a bunch of them for like a while. It's a little crazy, yeah. It's downtown.
According to Chariots, the agency providing bus service at Courthouse Square, they are offering full support to law enforcement as they investigate and determine the circumstances surrounding what took place. According to Salem police, that suspect is still on the loose, and authorities are investigating every lead to try and figure out who did this. In Salem, Celine Stevens, KGW News.
After 3 days and 30 hours of debate, Portland City Council approved an $8.5 billion budget this week, but also made $160 million in cuts. President Jamie Dunphy says they didn't close any fire stations or cut a single police officer, but the police union says that's not necessarily a win. They estimate about $18 million worth of people and programs were cut. That includes 80% of funding for public safety support specialists, and both victims services and community outreach programs were also scaled back.
And this is the deepest cut in the history of the Portland Police Bureau. This will be very practical, real-time impact.
Police really, they got gutted during this process. They really got gutted.
Yeah, I'm very afraid. I think that what we can expect is longer response times. I think we can expect a delay in service.
I am nervous about these cuts, and I think we have some more work to do to see how we can restore some of them.
On the flip side, funding was restored for the Fire Bureau's overdose response team, Portland Street Response, some violence prevention, as well as support for Black businesses. And when it comes to Portland Fire and Rescue, counselors saved the fire engine in St. John's, but 3 fire rescue units could be cut, and about 100 city employees in total could lose their jobs. The budget now goes through legal review. Counselors will be able to make changes ahead of the final vote in June. The race to a November rematch is on. In the days after the Oregon primary, it seems Governor Tina Kotek and State Senator Christine Drazen are already in full campaign mode. The governor blamed the Trump administration for affordability problems across the state, while Drazen put the blame squarely on Kotek. The big topic on Thursday was transportation and how to move forward after voters overwhelmingly rejected a gas tax increase. Drazen is calling for cuts to ODOT instead of tax increases, while the governor says she will lean on a bipartisan group of experts for solutions.
They waste money, they lose money, they're not accountable, and they're not transparent.
I will be looking to those experts to really clarify what it is that we need to have as a state and give us options on how to pay for it.
Kotek defeated Drazen by about 3.5 percentage points in 2022. Betsy Johnson was in the race at that time, as you may recall. A Republican has not been elected Oregon governor since 1982. And this week we followed up on a KGW investigation into military veterans denied benefits for a rare and incurable disease. After our reporting helped convince the VA to reverse course in one case, veterans say they are now pushing for more attention and trying to convince the experts it's all connected to their time in service. Investigative reporter Kyla Boshi has the update.
Look at what IBM has done. This is the reality that has devastated Greg and our entire family.
Lori Rathburn had just 5 minutes. 5 minutes of testimony to describe more than a decade of disappointment, fighting a government that repeatedly told her husband his rare muscle disease had nothing to do with his military service.
Try to imagine changing places with Greg and then being told by the VA that your disability does not exist and you are not worthy of disability benefits.
The Rathburns, along with several other veterans suffering from inclusion body myositis, or IBM,
you can see my hands don't do much anymore,
were invited to share their stories with the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. The VA asked this panel of scientists to examine the link between military service and certain diseases, including IBM.
I fully, wholeheartedly believe that his exposures during the military service is what caused this disease.
In our investigative documentary, Diagnosis Denied, we found veterans across the country diagnosed with IBM who'd been denied disability benefits by the VA. Advocates believe the number of veterans diagnosed with IBM may be anywhere from 6 to 19 times higher than the general population.
Look at me, live my life for a day. I wouldn't wish this on anybody.
For years, Greg Rathburn applied for service-connected disability, convinced that toxic chemicals he was exposed to as an avionics technician triggered the disease. But the VA denied those claims every time. Until last month, when the VA went back for another look. According to VA documents, the agency acted quickly due to the high-profile nature of the claim and related news coverage to inform Greg he'd been granted full benefits once and for all.
This was amazing news for us, but not every veteran has the opportunity for intense media coverage. Veterans shouldn't have to go to these lengths to receive approval.
These veterans and their families hope this panel will establish the link between military service and IBM, clearing the path for veterans to automatically get the benefits they deserve before more time runs out.
That was Kyle Eboshi reporting. Now, our reporting was part of a broader nationwide project called Diagnosis Denied, a new documentary about the fight for answers, benefits, and validation from those who served. It is streaming right now only on KGW+. On the coast, the Port of Tillamook Bay Board has voted not to rebuild a storm-damaged hangar. You might remember back in December, a windstorm tore a chunk off of it. It's one of the only surviving World War II-era hangars and was built to house blimps. After months of review, officials say the cost of repair plus maintenance makes the move unsustainable. For now, the Tillamook Air Museum will remain closed. And a federal judge has paused a major logging project in Douglas County, at least for now. In 2024, the Bureau of Land Management approved a plan to log more than 2,000 acres. BLM policy prohibits companies from logging trees if they're over a certain size or more than 175 years old. But the court found the agency withheld information about the age and size of the trees in the logging area to authorize the project.
One of the major reasons that the court found that we won was the kind of tireless work of the public and volunteers who went out on the ground and hiked through these timber sales and documented the presence of these old trees. It's a big win for us.
The court ordered BLM to toss out the project entirely and create a new plan that more closely studies the individual areas that they want to log. Meantime, the American Forest Resource Council, representing the forest products industry, said in part, quote, "We are disappointed by the court's decision and are currently assessing next steps." AFRC continues to believe that the project represents responsible, science-based forest management.
How a company can just think of themselves and their own profits like that and not the amount of people that are going to be affected, it's really upsetting.
Some people say they were blindsided after Providence announced it's sunsetting most of its insurance plans starting next year. Providence Health Plan provides insurance for more than 420,000 people in Oregon and another 13,000 in Washington. Providence Health Plan reported a net loss of more than $100 million last year. President and CEO Eric Wexler says the consolidation of the country's larger insurance companies have left them in a, quote, untenable situation, adding, quote, "We are doing this because changes in the healthcare environment, including state and federal regulation, have made it increasingly difficult for regional, not-for-profit health plans like PHP to thrive." Coverage for Providence Health Plan members will still continue through 2026, but the health plan will not renew or offer employer, group, or individual family plans for 2027. Providence says it's working to keep Medicare Advantage members covered and will help people figure out alternatives. A local high school program that's helped thousands of students find themselves and their path forward is now gone. We're talking about the JROTC program in the Reynolds School District. Catherine Cook spoke with parents and students about the impact.
The district tells us their decision to cut the JROTC was financial. Those who support the program understand the challenges, but say this tough financial decision was actually a mistake.
This was the closing of the battalion. We cased the colors. We will not be returning next year. It's a sad day.
Reynolds High School senior Ted Waterworth is saying goodbye to the Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps, a casualty of district budget cuts. He's grateful for what the JROTC did for him and those before him.
It's mainly to help you find your path through life, teach you what you're good at, teach you what you might need to work on.
In its final year, Reynolds had 75 cadets in its JROTC program. Meanwhile, the district is facing a $20 million budget shortfall.
They were trimming fat off of programs. This program was already bone, so you cut into bone, it's just gone.
This one, I think, hits the students very directly.
Eleanor Maddock is a math teacher at Reynolds. She says JROTC's impact on the school has been subtle, but powerful.
The pride and responsibility that they learn in the program, they inadvertently share with their peers. They model leadership and integrity and honor. And that's what's potentially going to be lost.
According to the district, JROTC enrollment has declined year over year. They noted cutting the program will save them about $116,000. In a statement, they said, The district respects the service and sacrifice of military members and recognizes the positive experiences many students have had in JROTC. This decision was financial and programmatic in nature.
They learned quite a bit.
Mike Kaiser's 2 daughters, both Reynolds grads, were in JROTC. They're sad for students who won't get the same opportunity as they did.
It's definitely really hard knowing that it's not going to be there for people to help them, because it helped me in so many different ways, and it's really sad to see it go.
In Troutdale, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
New life could finally be coming to a Superfund site along the Willamette. For decades, this North Portland plot sat vacant after being heavily polluted by chemicals used to treat wood. Now, after more than 20 years of cleanup, Portland Botanical Gardens is hoping to dramatically change this space. This week, the organization agreed to buy the 59 acres for just over $1 million, and it hopes it will one day reconnect people to the outdoors and provide access to the river.
It'll be a research and education focused garden, so a lot of science. Obviously beautiful, but emphasizing Northwest native plants.
Excited to see what's to come. There is no firm timeline as of yet, but Matthew Taylor, who we just heard from, hopes this inspires others to clean up and reimagine other contaminated sites. And hey, if you're staying local this holiday weekend, there is a lot happening at Portland's Waterfront Park. City Fair is kicking off the official start to the Rose Festival. It's happening for 3 consecutive weekends starting today through June 7th. And TriMet wants to make sure that you're prepared for all the fun. For the first time ever, the Grand Floral Parade and Starlight Parade will be combined into one single event. That'll be on Saturday, June 6th. So expect disruptions to some MAX lines and buses. The MAX Blue and Red Line trains will not operate between the Providence Park MAX station and the Rose Quarter Transit Center. The MAX Green Line will only operate between Clackamas Town Center and the Gateway Transit Center. And the orange and yellow lines will be running, but expect delays through downtown. And if your MAX stop is disrupted, don't worry. TriMet will have shuttle buses to replace MAX service between Providence Park and the Rose Quarter. And to the coast, reconstruction of the blue whale skeleton at Hatfield Marine Science Center in Newport is finally complete. This is a time-lapse, very cool time-lapse that you can see there on your screen. You can see this display this weekend if you'd like. The 180 bones were assembled over the past week. The skeleton is now one of only a handful available to the public to see in North America. The project has been about 10 years in the making after the whale washed up on Gold Beach in 2015. Now here's a look at your weather.
It is time for your Memorial Day weekend forecast. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. Again, we put this down for you on Friday morning, so obviously my words make the assumption that nothing is going to change in the forecast between now and Monday. But I will tell you, the modeling has been really consistent. If you've been watching our forecast updates throughout the week, because of that, we really haven't changed much, okay? So here's what's going on. Weather systems continuing to go up around us. We still have a dry forecast for the Inland Valley on this Friday, Saturday, and also still dry on Sunday. Now the exception, we've had really thick marine cloudiness with fog and mist and drizzle along the coast on this Friday morning, and that's at least possible again on Saturday. And I'll get you to our Futurecast movie, but here's the headline for the upcoming weekend. So it was 84 back on Thursday. Friday we're going to be at least 80, if not a little bit warmer. I like areas of morning cloudiness here in the valley on Saturday, and that should, even if we get a plenty of sun developing, looks like it's probably a cooler flow overall, so 76 degrees. And then Sunday, maybe morning clouds. There should be some increasing cloudiness during the day, and again about 76. And then you wake up in Portland on Memorial Day morning. Odds are it's cloudy but dry. At some point, we could start to see some light precip before the noon hour, then absolutely expecting scattered showers during the day. You know, if the rain holds off long enough, we might get a touch warmer than 62. The rain potential maps, again, this is the update as of Friday morning, have actually backed off a little bit in terms of the numbers. So this is going into the noon hour on Monday. It shows there has been some really light accumulative precip at the coast. It shows by noon we're starting to pick up some light traceable amounts of rain in the valley. But then if we play this even through the day on Monday, this shows generally less than 1/10 of an inch of rain
from Eugene up through Portland. It does show 17 100s in Kelso. And then we add scattered showers Monday night, and we add scattered showers Tuesday, and you come up with somewhat of the widespread measurable precip, and you come up with amounts that could get upwards of a ½ inch of rain at the coast. So we'll see if all that pans out. This is today, Friday afternoon, showing low clouds kind of hovering along the coast. There's that marine layer Saturday morning. Here's the area of low clouds working inland into Portland and then clearing out during the day. And I mentioned Sunday will be dry as well. So the 7-day goes like this for the weekend. Clouds to sun on Saturday, 76, kind of increasing clouds on Sunday, 76. If the rain holds off long enough on Monday, maybe we get warmer than 62. We'll see, but it's a gray day. Sun and scattered showers on Tuesday, and right now after that, we go back to dry weather on Wednesday and dry weather on Thursday of next week. Have a nice Memorial Day weekend.
And that is a wrap on your weekly recap. I'm Christine Pitawanich. A reminder that you can catch up on the latest headlines anytime on KGW.com, your KGW app, and of course our YouTube channel.